world are not going to be that interested in developing a purpose for a community. I feel like it's our role to put out a purpose, and that purpose can be a living, breathing thing. It's not like set in stone, but it gives us a working purpose so that we can move forward as a community and even make our community, because right now our community is small, and if we want to make it bigger, then we need to engage people. So any discussion about the agenda or about the purpose? What do folks think? Richard?
I completely agree with you, and just to mention that Nelson and I have been working on exactly this threshold for a couple of years now, of how to get out of talking about it, having good ideas, saying what we want, to actually putting it down in language and then moving on to what our work is. And so a critical question in the new coactive leadership is, how do you get from great ideas and possibilities into some kind of a group decision? And all we have at the moment is Robert's Rules of Orders, which have worked for 100 years, but we have a new structure of interaction. So for me, I proposed a purpose, and I got a second from Nelson, and I got an amendment from Bonnie, which I'm very happy with. And for me, it's time to say, yeah, let's have that be the purpose and move on to the next item. So I would vote for that. That would be my vote.
Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. So you accept my amendment as a friendly amendment?
Yes, and I'm willing to, if that's on the table, so let's now vote. I would vote for it.
And has everybody else seen? I did send it in the email that I sent out last night. Agnes and Doug, did you get a look at it? Nelson? And Agnes, you're muted.
I saw it, but I'm pulling it back up to just re-clarify.
All I did is just put the vision of the Pachamama Alliance in it, and I changed the word intention to vision. I thought, when I first read it, for me, intention was a little bit nebulous, although it's actually quite inclusive. So it depends on how you take the word, because intention is kind of an open way of doing it. But for me, I felt like it needed to be a little bit more, contained, so to speak. But so that's where we are with that.
And I would like to say the word intention was something that I struggled with a little bit for exactly the reasons that you cited. But the point of the purpose for me is to distinguish the community from Pachamama Alliance as an organization. We have our particular work to do, but that work is really expanding, manifesting, putting out, doing the work of Pachamama Alliance. So the purpose that I propose really refers back to the purpose and vision and mission statement of Pachamama Alliance, which is, I've made a link to it, but it's also on pachamama.org. The Pachamama Alliance mission statement and vision, everything is all there. And for me, our work is doing that and expanding it.
And I had looked at the mission and the vision and the purpose, and it was specifically the vision that said the part about, an environment that's sustainable, socially just, spiritually fulfilling, which is what I think people will resonate with, is my feeling. But any other input? Any other discussion? We can go to Robert's Rules of Order. Nelson?
So the purpose is, as I'm reading it, the purpose of the Golden Gate Pachamama community is to be in communion, conversation, and collaboration in furthering the intentions of the Pachamama Alliance.
That has been amended. So Bonnie, can you just state the purpose as you propose it, which I now agree with?
Let me go to it. Hold on. I'm going to have to.
Is it the one in italics below that?
No, I sent it last night.
I thought that's what I was looking at. I apologize.
No, that's okay.
I don't see the word intention anywhere in the thing you sent last night, Bonnie.
Correct. There, it isn't. So I changed it. So what I what I did was suggest a change, and what I suggested was this: the purpose of the Golden Gate Pachamama community is to be in communion, conversation, and collaboration in furthering the vision of Pachamama Alliance and being in active partnership to create an environmentally sustainable, spiritually fulfilling, socially just human presence on earth. That
Okay.
was my amendment.
Yeah, I can see that. That's in the purpose document, which is linked down low in the thing you sent last night. So
Well, it's in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th paragraph of, so I sent an email last night, and it's in the 5th paragraph of the email.
no, then I don't think I got that email.
Yeah, you are on the email. So it came at 9:33 last night, and your name is on the email. So I know there's a lot of emails and stuff, and it gets confusing. It was actually in response to Nelson's original email, which maybe I should have just done a separate one, but it's titled, "What is the future of our community group?" And it originally came from Nelson.
Gotcha.
I should have started a new, I think I should have started a new thread, but I was also speaking about the purpose, and that was kind of what we had been in conversation about. Richard?
Yeah, one thing is that we just illustrated my problem with email, and I'm working on that with Jason at the moment because Roger is out of the picture for a while. But to try to get those threads to be more easily accessible, storing information, etc. So that's for later. We don't have time for that now, but I just wanted one thing to say is that for me, it's just a kind of an aesthetic thing. I really like the original Pachamama Alliance version saying, have all those things on this planet instead of on Earth. I just like that.
Okay. And again, it was just, I didn't put the exact words, but we can sure put it exactly what their vision is. I have no problem with that. We can do that. That's perfect. Because I was trying to remember what their actual specific wordage was.
Okay, with that, unless there's other comments, we have 5 people on this call, which I think we could declare. Bonnie, you're the facilitator. We could declare this a quorum.
Yeah,
it could definitely
a quorum.
And we could vote on it if everybody agrees.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the amended and with the secondary amendment of making it exactly as the Pachamama Alliance has wordage about it, or the planet versus the earth, which is what I just put earth because I thought I couldn't remember exactly. But is anyone all in agreement? Say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Oh, personal pet peeve. I think spiritually fulfilling is fascist.
Well, that's part of their mission.
Yeah.
That's part of their vision. So,
Yep.
and also it's a little bit funny because it does kind of make some people a little bit squirmy, because if you get those left-brained type A folks, they might get a little bit squirmy about that, but that is the vision of the Pachamama Alliance. So, I'm sorry, Nelson?
Just briefly, thank you everybody for making that a unanimous decision. And as Bonnie says, it's a living document. It doesn't mean it's locked in concrete. And so not necessarily for discussion now, but I would recommend that we think about what we're going to do with our purpose statement. So for instance, we may wish to, since we may be sliding into talking about the Thursday night event soon, we may wish to state our purpose before every meeting and hand out copies of it to affirm it. And then when discussions get into that aren't in alignment with what we're up to, we could call people back into the room subject-wise. And maybe there's other reasons or other uses for purpose statements that we can think about down the road. And I am looking over here at the clock because I'm mindful that we need to talk about Thursday. But I just want to say thank you for adopting a statement, a purpose statement, and now I'm looking forward to seeing how we're going to implement it and use it.
Now, before we go there, though, Doug, we're not quite there yet because we're still in the middle of the vote. Doug was not a yes. He was a this. So are you abstaining, Doug, or are you a no vote?
I'll abstain. That's probably
okay. Thank you. But I still think we did have a majority vote here. Richard,
but I have a comment. Yeah, in response to Doug, I can understand your concern about that. In my experience, having studied a lot of different spiritual traditions, what they have in common is the spiritual goal for all of them is connection. So for me, it's not fascist at all to say spiritually fulfilling, because in my mind, what that means is connection.
And it's all, and it can be very individual. What's spiritually fulfilling to you is not necessarily spiritually fulfilling to me. So it's not telling you how or what you need to be spiritually fulfilled, but it just is stating that we, and we can do this offline, Doug, but I'm interested in why it's fascist. But again, send me the explanation so I understand, because I don't really, for me, it's just, I just see it as something as an individual fulfillment and however that looks for folks. But again, it's a different read on, I guess, the wording of it. Also, hang on just a second, Agnes. I just wanted to respond to what Nelson said, because I think we need to define that, and because I want to segue into the community gathering for Thursday night. I think to begin with, what we could do is just write the purpose on the whiteboard. It will be saving paper, and we can refer to it and I will put it together, like I will send it to us as what we've agreed on, and I'll incorporate the language from the Pachamama Alliance vision to be very specific to what their vision is, and I will send it out. But what we can do is write it on the whiteboard at the top before folks get there, and then we can read it, or we can let people know that this is a working, I'm going to call it a working purpose. And when I say working, we're working with it, not, this is what we're just going to work with now, and we can always alter it once we have a full community and people who might be interested in that. That's what I would say to that. And anything else on that?